career. I'm living proof to students that not having a plan for your career is okay. I haven't ever expected to get any of the jobs I've had, and I think for some of them, fair to say, I wasn't even remotely qualified for them, but somebody gave them to me, which is kind of leading back to Evergreen, because I think the most important part of the Evergreen education is learning how to learn, because that sets you up for life, for career, for your personal life, for your avocational pursuits, because you can never know enough about anything. And particularly when you're young, you're not the expert. So you have to be in a learning mode. It sort of doesn't matter what problem you're presented with, because you have this kind of attitude like, well, okay, I don't understand this, but I'll figure it out. And you can move. And a lot of people just get paralyzed. They wait for instructions. And if you're trying to move in a career, you can't wait for instructions. You've got to look around and figure out what needs to be done. Really, my first job had a lot to do with lobbying the legislature. And the first job was just an outgrowth of a group contract here on the Washington State tax structure, particularly the business tax structure. And I turned that into a public interest research group, People for Fair Taxes, and I did that for a while, and then that led to my next job and so forth. I guess it was intentional on the part of Carolyn Dobbs, who was one of my first teachers, but always there's tension between a school and the surrounding community. But for Evergreen, it was particularly pronounced, especially in its early years. So Carolyn insisted that all her students go to a public meeting a week. So it didn't matter what, city council, county commission, planning commission, it didn't matter, but it was an obligation of the class. It was like get the greeners off the campus and into the community. So I discovered that when the legislature was in session, you could always find a meeting to go to check off that requirement. What I hadn't expected was that I'd become fascinated with the legislative process. One of the things that attracted me to the school, and one of the ways I think the education here has helped me so much, is the system thinking, the whole system, but certainly getting out of the constraints of academic disciplines and the confines that puts on your thinking. Because if you reflect on it, all of the really interesting problems in society or business are inherently multidisciplinary. So if you have an education that sort of naturally leads you to look at a whole system and then decide what are the interconnections, how does this thing working or not working, and what needs to be done to assist it, you just have a natural advantage on people who come at the world from whatever their specific training was. Now, greeners are partly self-selecting. We come here because the school is set up that way. But how you actually apply it can make you just incredibly useful. And that's the best argument for an evergreen education or liberal arts education is, wow, that guy, that gal really knows how to get something done. And that's what makes you valuable, and that's what gives you opportunity. You have to take responsibility for education here. There is no set absolute curriculum. And if you're dissatisfied with how it's progressing, it's not a complaint about the course catalog. It's like get busy and find somebody you want to work with or find a team. And it turns out that if you apply that concept to the work environment, that you don't have to accept exactly what you found, that you have some obligation to take responsibility and try to shape it. Again, it can give you an enormous advantage. So the evergreen education, this learning how to learn, is a gift, and it's incredibly powerful and invaluable.